I remembered a time where it was my ex-wife and I were talking, and there was this belief between us that I was awful, and after I saw the lie and recognized that, it just struck me one day while we were having a conversation. She was putting me down for something. I don't remember what it was, but I said, I have to start telling myself the stuff that God says about me, even
Yes.
though I don't believe it. It
Yeah.
doesn't. I do think I suck. I do think I'm worthless and awful and, you know, whatever, wrong and broken and whatever. And I was like, I've been telling myself that for 20 something years, and all it's done is make me more twisted and broken, and it's
Yeah.
not done. You think it's going to have the opposite effect, and that's with the obedience. If I can do this thing good enough because I suck, if I can get better at it, then I'll be valuable, God will love me. But all it does is keep you there, and
Yeah.
you might look better, you might quit smoking or quit drinking or quit, uh running around on your spouse, or yelling at your kids, whatever. um these things that you think are the problems with you, maybe you'll stop, and that's great, but you're still you, just with that broken part not showing up, and it's gotten, tucked away better so it doesn't
Yeah.
pop out or whatever. But it doesn't change. It doesn't really change. It just stops. And and what you're talking about. And so instead of listening to those awful things, listening to good, true things, not made up things. God does say good stuff about us, and we can, you know, you'll find it all throughout the Bible. Yeah, he loves us. He thinks well of us. He likes us. We're important to him. We matter. And we think we've got to earn that instead of already having it. And
Yeah.
it keeps you in that.
It doesn't make any sense, does it? He
No.
loves us unconditionally, but we got to earn it.
But you got to earn it, and you got to do it better, and you got to do it right. And yeah, it's an awful trap, and a lie, which is what you're talking about.
The problem with the lie is that was what it caused to change. Adam and Eve knew the truth. They knew only what God had taught them. And everything they knew was true. It was real.
Mm.
There was nothing unreal in their experience in the garden. And once God released them to go practice what they had learned, they didn't do what God said, which was to protect, to guard the garden.
Mm.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that protection and God, we can get into that sometime, but just essentially to protect their hearts and their minds and anything that would disturb the truth, the realness of the garden.
Okay.
And the serpent was constantly chattering to them, telling them things about God that weren't true, and things about themselves that weren't true. And whenever you continue to hear the same lies, the same misinformation, the same wrong information, and you continue to hear it and think about it and ponder it and talk to yourself and talk to others
Mm.
about it, the
Mm.
more that happens, the more it literally becomes your information. It becomes your knowledge. You possess it. Remember last time we were talking about demon possession.
Yeah.
There is no such things. But people can possess demons.
Yeah.
The demon can't possess you, but you can possess it.
Yeah.
And when you start possessing, by the way, the word devil, diablo in the Greek, it's a compound word. I never knew that. I found this out a few years ago when I started looking at it, and I said diablo. I said, oh, that's dia and ablo, diablo, and the word means to throw through, to throw. And I thought, that's what the devil does. He throws false information, lies. He just throws it to you, and it
Yeah.
just passes right through you, right
Yeah.
through your mind.
Wow.
And if you continue to hear the same lies being thrown at you continually, eventually you possess them. They're yours. And
Yeah.
you literally can, that becomes your reality.
Yeah.
That's what's real to you. You know that that's real. You know that that's true. Even if it isn't, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Once you have heard something enough times, you will, and not fought against it, not resisted it, then it owns you, or you own it. And that's what was going on. And so we're still living by the same principles today. So when we um, when we hear lies, when we hear misinformation and we don't know that it's misinformation, or we may know it's misinformation, but we want to believe it anyway,
Mhm.
and so we possess it, those things literally, how do I put it? It's like the time I was in Telluride I told you about, that I I I thought I was expecting something, but what I was expecting was not what was there. And
Right.
so I had a wrong belief, and because I believed I was looking for one thing, when in actuality I was looking for something else, but I didn't know it. I
Yeah.
thought what I thought I was looking for, that's what I was looking for. So when I saw it, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It was invisible to me.
Yeah.
Um, and when I went around the corner, went down the street, around the corner, and came back in Telluride, and I finally saw the sign this time because I had changed my expectations. Um, I saw something different. And I began to learn about the word expectation, which is translated hope in the New Testament. I don't really like the word hope because hope is, I mean, I've heard people I love that are great preachers talk about hope being in the future. Hope is something you're looking forward to. Um, no, that's not what hope is. Hope, the word hope means expectation. To hope is to expect. And it's what Jesus was saying when he said, I stand at the door and I knock. Well, what are you hoping for there? That if you open the door, he's going to be standing there because
Right.
he's knocking.
Right.
And so hope needs to be understood as expectation. And to hope is to expect. And when you expect, it's not expect in the future, it's right now. Right, I expect it on the other side of the door. That's what Jesus was talking about. He
Yeah.
wasn't talking about someplace in the future that I'm standing at the door and if you'll open it, I'm down the street or I'm across the country.
I
He's
might be
right
there.
there,
Ding dong
you know?
ditch. Yeah.
Yeah. And so um, what happens is that what we know, I've covered this before, I believe, what we know or think we know, right or wrong, doesn't make any difference, what we know um, and believe is true determines what we expect. And what we expect determines what we will see or not see, hear or not hear, experience or not experience. That's why two different people can see the same exact thing and yet see two different things because of all that they know and believe and thus expect. Their expectations determine what their result is going to be of whatever's going on, or their expectation is going to determine what they really see. I mean, you've walked around the house looking for something that it was here 10 minutes ago and now it's gone, and you keep looking and looking, and 2 days later it's right where you looked the first time. It hadn't moved, but for whatever reason, whatever you were looking for didn't appear in your mind, and you were looking right at it and couldn't see it. I mean, how many times does that happen to me? And it happens to everybody. And so, um, what happens is that in this whole process I'm talking about, we are learning all the time. And not everything we're learning is true. And it's been going on since before we came out of the womb. Regardless, we are learning. And as we're learning, we're pretty much believing what we learn. It's just a normal reaction, um, to believe. And then whatever you believe is true will determine your expectations. And the end result of this is that we literally create our own realities, because I was expecting that sign in Telluride and it wasn't there. And finally, when I saw it, I realized it was my expectation that prevented me from seeing the sign until my expectation changed. Once my expectation changed, it was right there in front of me. It was the craziest thing. It was a life changing for me, because I realized that that's what's happening to me constantly. I am expecting, and I don't even know what I'm expecting, Lee. I mean, I have things that I know I'm expecting or I'm hoping for, but I essentially don't know what I'm expecting. And so, um, I I oftentimes don't see what is right in front of me, or I see something that isn't in front of me. And whatever I believe is true, even if it's not, I act like it's true because I believe it's true. And when I believe something is true, I'm going to live like it's true. But if I am believing things that aren't true, if I'm expecting things that aren't true, that aren't real, then I'm literally in my own creative imagination making a reality that only exists in my mind.